はい。はい。
お願いします。
お願いします。そう。はい。side to side. はい。Hip to shoulders. はい。Circles one way. Circles the other way. はい。Arms and back. 正面。横面。はい。反対。両方。ベンチ。横。き。こ。き。こ。短球。こ。はい。So, forward, down. よし。Your knees, back, circles, one way, circles the other way. Down, bring your toes. The hips. And leg in front, hand resting your leg. Good. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and dive. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and sideways, small ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And hinges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the next one, I believe it's a good idea to just hold something, or just if you can fully keep your balance, that's obviously great. But if you need to kind of hold into something and just explore the because the previous ones, all of them are linears, so that's a line, you know. These one open up a little bit, so we started with that opening circle kind of bit, but basically that's a line, and then basically this is a line, so that kind of operates in very linear forms. For the next one, if you can hold on to something, you know, and just basically make a slow circle on it, and then use your hinge back, and then back up again, up, make a circle, use your hinge back, and back up into it. So just kind of explore a little bit the range of your hip in that sense. Like I say, it's perfectly fine to grab onto something, okay? And so you don't have to be. So in this case, it's not so much about what we sometimes do, which is stability of an alignment of the ankle, knee, and hip. So that's always important. But this movement in particular is not to strengthen or test that. It's more just to test the circular capacity of your hip. Okay, so that's why holding into something it's fine. Raising your leg, opening it into a circle, and then coming back into your hinge and up again, opening it into a circle, back into your hinge, up again. So it's like almost like outside crescent kicks, but with more awareness, I guess, of seeing how your hip is behaving this morning, you know, and where some restrictions may occur. Okay, so we so 4 ish, one more, and 5. Okay, so that's just to check that again, because we are holding on something. The challenge is not so much on the supporting leg. The challenge is on the moving leg. Not so much of a challenge, it's more like a diagnose. Okay, see how your hip is. So open, and back, up, up, open, around, back, down, up, open, around, back, up, open, around, back, up, one more, open, around, back. So that, as I say, if you do not hold into anything, then you are challenging a bit more the stability of your supporting leg, which is possibly a good thing. I just didn't want to do that this morning. If you hold into something, you are removing some of the stability out and focusing more on the hip motion. If you want to remove completely the stability of your leg because your ankle doesn't feel fine or anything, then you just perform that in a four-leg position, and then just basically do the same thing, but completely on your knee. So maybe just go down onto your hands just to experience that. So hands, knee, and it's the same thing. Open, circle, opening, extending, and up again. Up, circle, extend, down again. Up, circle, extend, down again. Up, circle, extend, up again. Last one. Up, circle, extend, down. Change to the other side. Up, circle, extend, down. Up, circle, extend, down. Up, circle, extend, down. Up, circle, extend, down. One more. Up, circle, extend, down. And back stretch. So, all right, so lying down on your back. And down on your back. And your knees side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So extending one leg, bending the other one towards your chest, bring it towards your hip, towards your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Letting it go. And the other one, extending, hugging, chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it go. Both knees towards chest. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grabbing your toes, raising your heels, and relax on your lower back. Take a few deep breaths. Hey, bring your knees down again. So your legs down and your knees side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now if you can cross one leg, okay, cross one leg over you. If you are a little bit tight, don't worry about it. Just work on opening your own knee into that position. But if you can, pass your hand through the hole and into it, and just grab and holding and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Change side. So opening your knee, okay, and passing your hands if you can. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Again, the other side one more time. So bend the knee, passing hands, and grab. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Change one more. opening hip, and passing hand, and relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Hands down. Turning around, facing face down, opening your arms side to side, raise your leg, and scorpio kick to one side. 5, 3, 2, 1, and down. Raising your leg, scorpio kick to the side, and 3, 2, 1, and side. Your leg up, scorpio kick, one side, 3, 2, 1, relax. Again, up, scorpio kick, this side, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And hands in front of you. You're going to pull into you. You're going to pull towards your chest. So now remember, important exercise when you do shoulder or upper back exercises is to, at the beginning, never forget to engage your scapula. Scapula? That's yeah. The scapula is the shoulders, like, these little wings things that we have on the back. So in the same way that moving rotationally, or with some form of force, you have to always remember to engage your core muscle before you do the movement. With back exercises, it's very important to engage the scapula first and then produce the back exercise. So in this case, when your arms is like this, engage your scapula and then bring your arms forward, okay? Because sometimes if we just don't engage the scapula, then we just kind of pull our arms, but our back never really does anywhere. So try to engage your scapula first and then do the pull and then go down, okay? So let's engage your scapula first, okay? So here, engaging your scapula first and then do the pull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. Engage the scapula and pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Engage the scapula, pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Engage the scapula, pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Engaging scapula, pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. One more time. Engage the scapula, pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. So engaging your scapula is another little kind of gadget or trick that sometimes happens with certain motions that we are less aware of because of the structure of the body. Some people, for example, even say that when a person strikes, if you let's say you put your hand up and you put your arm out, like in a striking position, it's a different sensation if you put your hand out and reach. In the moment that you reach your scapula on that side, so not your whole body, leave your body in place, extend your hand and reach. That should activate your scapula on that side. So if you come outside, engage your scapula, and then you make your fist and sit. Apparently, for people who practice striking positions, that position is much more integrated than the position of just raising your arm and making a fist, right? If you just raise your arms, make a fist, and don't do anything with your scapula, is one sensation. The second one is if you raise your arm, extend, like you're going to grab something, that engages the scapula, and fist, and then you have your position, and that's another sensation. And that's just something that, especially striking artists, sometimes pay attention when they do their own technique. But anyway, so it's very important, for us to remember, it's almost something separated, something that from our perspective, we should work on it from a shisei point of view. Okay, sometimes we think about the wrong things many times in terms of fixing our posture. We think that it's about pulling our shoulders back, for example, when many times, as we have said here before, it's about fixing the tilting of your pelvic floor first. Second, engaging your scapulas. Third, fixing your eyesight. Okay, so if you fix your pelvic tilt, engage your scapulas, and fix your eyesight, it's a way of correcting your posture that it is different from don't do any of those things and just simply put your shoulders back. Okay. So if you have a poor tilting on your hip, and your scapula is not engaged, and if you're looking down, but you pull your shoulders back, in order to kind of fix your posture, it's not going to be the same thing as tilting your pelvis, engaging your scapula, fixing your eyesight. If you do those things, I think that's a much better way of structurally fixing something like Shisei, so pelvis, scapula, eyesight, okay? And then see what happens with that. All right, so during the week, we've been working a little bit on Henkawasas. So we basically started from a basic Tenchinage position, okay? And then we did a variation of Tenchinage, which remember, Henkawasa is not changed, it's not only changed to change of technique, but it's some form of variation of technique. So Soto into Tenchinage. And then from that variation, we kind of proceeded with other changes of techniques, for example, Tenchinage into Ikkyo. And we even went from Tenchinage into Uchikokyonage. Okay? So the idea was to start with a basic technique, the Ichiwasa, and then from there separate into a series of Henkawasas. Now, although that's as everything else, like Geishiwasa, Henkawasa, all of those things are interesting. The important thing for us to remember is that they are all based on the same idea, understanding Kihon Wasa first properly. And the more we embody our Kihon Wasa, what the promise is, or the idea is, that once it's time to put them together, as in change them from one Kihon Wasa to another one, which we call the Henka Wasa, that process will be smoother, or at least more congruent, because I think that we can do crazy things in terms of changes and things like that, but sometimes it's not congruent with the rest of the system that we're trying to teach or learn. So anyway, so let's go into the idea of making the basic ones of this, and then see if eventually we can study them together as a form of Henkawasa. So the basic foundation was Tenchinage. Okay, so Tenchinage, 2 hands out. Okay, Tenchinage, lowering your body, hands in front of you. Okay, and then basic Tenchinage enters and okay, so now inside, lowering your body, hands in front of you. Remember, the most common mistake here is that hands go behind, the upper hand is left behind, or the lower hand just goes to sleep. Okay, so now keeping the upper hand in front, lower hand active, and entering and plugging. One little gesture that we were studying with Tenchinage recently was that because the front hand is in front of you, sometimes we project, boom, and we leave this second hand here. Okay, and what's happening sometimes, and what Mono Sensei does, is because he projects and opens his hip at the same time, then these hands travel together, but the lower hand doesn't stay there. So the lower hand travels together, in the moment that the hip opens. Okay, so let's see if we can remember that little habit, as opposed to leaving that hand there and just closing the other one here and putting them together. Remembering that we have to open the hip of the lower hand in order to maximize the motion, that is happening with Tenchinage. Okay, so hands in front of you, stepping in, okay, flattening down, opening the hip. So, hands in front of you, okay, stepping in, opening the hip. Hands in front of you, lowering your hip, stepping in, lowering. Hands in front of you, opening the hip, in front of you. Okay. Hands in front of you, and okay. So very important habits of Tenchinage. Lowering your hips. Okay, lowering the hip. Okay. So remember that's a question that people ask. Tenchinage and Iriminage are so related. They look so similar because of the upper hand projection. That the question is, well, so what's the difference between them? And one way of understanding the difference is that the vector or the kusushi of Iriminage is more based horizontally in a way, if we enter and control my partner's spine especially, and the vector of Kusushi of Tenchinage is more downwards. Okay, so if there is a sensation of downwardness somehow created, then you could say that has a bit more of a Tenchinage feeling. If there is a sensation more of just spine control, horizontal enterness, you could say it has a feeling a little bit more of a Iriminage. Okay, but again, these things don't have 100% separated boxes. Okay, but anyway, so to order that feeling of Tenchinage, lower your hip, lower the action down, up, and next. Entering in, lower your hip, and enter. Moving in, lower your hip, and enter. There, in, lower hip, and one thing that I like of that way of practicing Tenchinage is that it combats a very common habit in our body, which is the habit that when our arms go up, our center of gravity goes up. When our arms go down, our center of gravity goes down. That's how our body normally operates. I raise my hands and I raise my whole body and my energy and everything. I lower my hands and I lower everything. But Tenchinage is telling us, no, lower your center of gravity. The same thing happens, but it's more difficult to study in Kokyuho, especially people who practice Kokyuho at home in solo. The first movement of Kokyuho is lower your hips. And sometimes people takes a bit of time to understand that because what it looks like is like I'm raising my arms. But the instruction is lower your hips. Okay, so yeah, I know that the visual looks like I'm raising my hands, but that's not the instruction. The instruction is specifically when you are raising your hands, lower your hips, engage your core muscles, pivot, and then move. Those are the instructions for Kokyuho in solo. But the first instruction is lower your hips, even if it looks like I'm raising my hands. And that will happen so much because many of our techniques have hands up, it's the nature of Ikkyo Undo, the very exercise of raising our hands. Tomenuchi Ikkyo, Miriminage, etc. Everything that raises. And something that we have to combat, something that we have to train our body is to say, when my hands are raising, my center of gravity is lowering. When my hands are raising, my center of gravity is lowering. Okay? And that is very much the essence of Tenchinage in the beginning. Lower your center of gravity. Lower center of gravity. Lower center of gravity. Lower center of gravity. And then the other thing that we're studying. Lowering your center of gravity, taking a step, opening your lowering your center of gravity, taking a step, lowering your center of gravity, taking a step, lowering your center of gravity, taking a step, lowering it. Okay. So once again, it's an endless process of doing that, and over and over and over. Especially if we train together. If I feel that your center of gravity is going up when your gesture of your hands are going up, I normally intentionally, I'm a bit mean, but that's kind of the point. I intentionally lean a little bit more on you because I go, the center went up, and because the hand is up, and if I lean a little bit more on you, then you will feel really heavy. You will go, it feels really heavy. But that's not me wanting to be mean on that. It's just that I saw that your center of gravity went up, and because of that, I know that now your body is a little bit out of structure. And if I lean a little bit more, you will kind of feel the heaviness of that. And, we kind of help each other with that. Anyway, so that's basically. So now, let's start to study the other basics that eventually will help us to put Kenkawasa together. Basic one, Soto. Soto. And gesture of the hand. Soto. Okay? Gesture of the hand. Soto. Gesture of the hand. Soto. Okay? Gesture of the hand. Soto. Okay? Again, using many things. Soto Kokyunage, Soto Kaitanage, etc. So, Ude Waza, or Ude Sabaki, Soto. Ude Sabaki. Ude Sabaki. Okay. So now, Uda Sabaki, Soto, and lowering. Uda Sabaki, Soto, lowering. Uda Sabaki, Soto, lowering. Uda Sabaki, Soto, lowering. So that will be our first kind of Henkawasa thing. Soto, lowering, hand up, and Soto, lowering, and up, and end. Soto, lowering, and up, and Soto, lowering, and up, and more. Soto, lower, and up, enter, side, Soto, lower, and up, and okay. So basic Tenchinage, now using the Soto Ude Sabaki. Soto Ude Sabaki. Our arm moving on the outside. Now, next basic technique, Ihon, okay, is going to be, if you visualize Katatedori, Yakuhanmi, Ikkyo Ura. So, Ate Miwasa, Ura Sai. Okay, first the movements are Ate Miwasa, Ura Sai. Okay. Demiwasa, Ura. So, Ura, in this case, because you're in Yakuhanmi, the Ura of your partner will also be your Ura, okay, because you're in Yakuhanmi position, so it's the same side. So your back will also be their back. So when you enter here, and then you move towards what is your back, okay, as opposed to moving towards your front completely, okay. So you enter and towards the back, okay. So you're going to enter and towards the back. Glory, enter, towards the back. Glory, enter, towards the back. Now, hopefully, because your partner is holding you in Yakuhanmi, that means that we're having awareness of this hand. This hand is alive because my partner is holding me. So holding, and okay, my hand is alive. You cannot go to sleep. You see? And it's alive, enter, and we're going to continue alive. Okay? So pay attention to the lower hand. Okay? Up, alive. Okay? So Sushi first. Atemi, sushi. Atemi, sushi. Atemi, sushi. Atemi, sushi. Atemi. So now for this atemi, just for this atemi or atewata, just try to focus on a vertical channel. It's called uraken, or the back of the hand. So when you enter, boom, back, and then down. So there are many ways of entering. You could be with the palm, or you could be with the feet like that. Try to focus on, for the moment, to having your hand vertical in that position. That would be like, yeah, atemi with the back of the hand, just to kind of enter atemi, and just because that's when we put it together with tenchinage, that makes a little bit more structural sense. Okay, so enter and down. So enter, down, enter, down, enter, down, enter, down, enter, down. All right, after that continues the motion of ikkyo, okay? Because we enter, down, hands together, and ikkyo, using your spine. Enter, down, hands together, spine. Enter, down, hands together, spine. Enter, down, hands together, spine. Okay, you can. Enter, down, enter, down, hands together, enter, down, together, ikkyo, please. Just to that point, without the oshima, just All right. So now let's just try to put that one, EQ, with a little bit of the structure of the Henka of the Tenchinage that we were doing before. So here, so the Tenkan, out, Tenchinage. So now remember, with that Tenchinage, the hand goes up. Topic that we mentioned with Tenchinage, with Riminage, and so on the other day was that we need to be careful to not curve our arm too early in the process of the projection. You know, your arm remains vertical until the point of kusushi and then curves in the moment of projection. But if you curve it too early, you may be a little bit too early in the process. Okay, so a little bit vertical in the moment of kusushi. Once there is kusushi on the person, then you can curve in order to kind of do projection. Iriminage, tenchinage, so in this case, down. That hand is more vertical, which is going to help us a little bit as an atemi. Hand down, continue, pass it to the other hand, and enter as if it was equal. So, okay, so enter, soto, vertical hand is doing an atemi-like shape. Hand passes, grabs, and equal. Okay, so soto, lower hand, vertical hand, send it in a shape, an atemi-like shape, passes, grabs, and equal. Time, soto, atemi-like shape, and down, and equal. Okay, that's how the Henkawasa for that can be a little bit studied. Okay, soto, almost atemi-like shape, and passes on the other side, and soto, atemi-like shape, passes on the other side. But before rushing too much into the Henkawasa, remember the important thing is to understand and practice the Kaeshi, the Kihon was. Okay. All right. One more Henkawasa that we did had to do with Uchi Kokunage. So let's just practice Uchi Kokunage. So opening, hand and hip, entering, pivot, and Kokunage. Opening, hand and hip, atemi with the forearm, pivot, Kokunage. Opening, hand and hip, atemi with the forearm, pivot, Kokunage. Opening, hand and hip, atemi or atewasa with the forearm, pivot, Kokunage. Time, opening, hand, hip, atewasa, pivot, Kokunage. Opening, hand, hip, atewasa, pivot, Kokunage. Opening, and hip, atewasa, pivot, opening, and hip, atewasa, pivot, go. Okay. On Wednesday in the atewasa session, Irena took the people who were there through breaking boards. So we broke boards with Tanagokoro, with the palm of the hand, and then we also broke boards with the forearm strike. And it was interesting because Some people, for example, if you don't move in too much, some people where their forearm strike was obviously going circular, was going around like that, around. But Elena was moving forward into the motions. Now, that possibly is a little bit more congruent with the Irimi kind of form of Taisavakti's moving motion because he was actually moving and he was almost going in. So in this case, it's a little bit more like that. Boom, you move in, straight, pivot, and then go in. Okay? So that's the basic, and we can never do enough of that. When we bring that basic into the Tenchinage shape was down, up. The hand is up, we're going to move, enter on that side, pivot, talking. Okay, one more time. Circle, soto, hand up. But now we're going to take advantage of the opening of this hand. Enter, pivot, and continue. Soto, up. Take advantage of the opening. Boom, pivot, continue. Up. Take advantage of the opening that you need with the big hand. Boom, pivot, continue. So the way more or less looks like is something like this. Circle, up, boom, pivot, and continue. Circle here, up, pivot, continue. Okay, up, change direction, pivot, continue. So, up, pivot, continue. Okay, so that's more or less how it looks. So, let's practice a little bit. Soto, up. Now you created that opening already with your upper hand. You're going to enter through there. Boom. With your Atewasa. Pivot. Continue. Soto, up. There's this opening here. Enter through there. Pivot. Continue. Circle. Up. Opening. Enter. Pivot. Continue. Up. Opening here. Enter. Pivot. Continue. Continue, please. Again. Yeah, we did it. Something. Okay. Oh, okay. So, use the Atewasa. Use the Atewasa. It's already there. Use the Atewasa. Use the Atewasa. Oh, one. Two more. Use the Atewasa. Nice. More. Use the Atewasa. Boom. Right? So, anyway, so there was plenty of fun and confusion with the Henkawasas, with the changes, but what we need to remember is that part of that confusion comes not because Henkawasas are complex, but because maybe we haven't fully embodied, our body's still working out the Kihonwasa. And when the body is still working out the Kihonwasa, obviously we'll struggle to put two Kihonwasas together because there's a moment of transition, so it's not perfect. There's like a little moment of transition. There's Kihonwasa here, and then there is a little bit of moment of transition. If the Kihonwasas are not fully embodied, then we get confused with that. And of course, if the moment of transition requires slight adjustment here or there, we get confused with that. But the only way to solve that is to repeat Kihonwasas as much as possible. So, Tenchinage, so, Soto, movement, Rikyo, Ura, Uchi, Kokinage. And hopefully by the time we do each of those 10,000 times, then the Kihon will be more in our body, and then we can focus more on the slight adjustments between Kihon and Kihon, but there is no escaping of making those as much part of our training as we can every day. All right, let's finish up, please. Great. Hey.
どうもありがとうございました。
Arigato gozaimashita. Thank you very much. Apologies for the sun in there. It's just kind of coming to that time of year. When it's too sunny at this time of the morning. We'll have to do something to put for the next couple of weeks or something. Thank you very much.